The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council sparkled under the light of 3 artificial suns. 200 representatives from different worlds sat in their climate-controlled pods, waiting for the day's proceedings to begin. Most were thin, delicate creatures who had evolved on gentle worlds with weak gravity and mild weather. Today was supposed to be a simple ceremony, the formal invitation of Earth into the Galactic Council. The Council had watched humanity for decades, waiting until they developed faster-than-light travel. Now that humans had achieved this milestone, it was time to welcome them into galactic society. What the Council didn't understand was that they were about to meet Tom Smith, Earth's chosen representative. Tom was a simple man with simple views, who had spent 30 years as a construction worker before being randomly selected as Earth's diplomat. He wasn't impressed by fancy titles or grand ceremonies. The head counselor, a tall blue being called First Speaker, floated down from his elevated platform. His voice echoed through the translation devices in everyone's ears. We gather today to welcome our new friends from Earth, a high-gravity world we have classified as a death world due to its harsh conditions. The assembled aliens murmured among themselves. They had all seen the reports about Earth, the powerful storms, the aggressive predators, the extreme temperatures, and the tough creatures that survived there. But surely, now that humans had reached the stars, they would want to leave such a difficult world behind. Tom walked into the hall, his heavy boots making loud sounds on the polished floor. The aliens watched in fascination as his muscular frame moved with what seemed to them like incredible speed and strength. Even in the lower gravity of the Council station, he appeared powerful and dangerous. "Welcome, human representative," First Speaker said, spreading his 4 arms in greeting. "We are honored to offer Earth membership in the Galactic Council. With our help, your people can finally leave their harsh world and settle on more suitable planets. We have already selected several garden worlds that would be perfect for human colonization." Tom looked around the Grand Hall, taking in the fancy decorations and the nervous faces of the alien representatives. He scratched his gray beard, thinking about the mountains and forests of Earth, about the oceans and deserts, about all the places where humans had built their homes despite the challenges. "That's mighty kind of you," Tom said slowly, his voice carrying clearly through the translation systems. "But I think there's been a misunderstanding. We didn't come here looking for a new home." First Speaker blinked his large eyes in confusion. "But surely you understand that Earth is classified as a death world? The conditions there are extremely dangerous by galactic standards." A small smile appeared on Tom's weathered face. "That death world is our home. We didn't survive there for millions of years just to leave when things got comfortable. Earth made us who we are. It's not just a planet to us, it's part of who we are as a species." The council chamber erupted in shocked whispers. No species had ever chosen to remain on a death world when offered alternatives. The very idea went against all of their civilized sensibilities. Tom wasn't finished. He stood straighter, his voice firm. "And there's something else you should know. If joining your council means we have to leave Earth behind, then we'll have to respectfully decline your invitation." The silence that followed was absolute. In all its long history, no species had ever rejected membership in the Galactic Council. The implications were staggering. Humanity wasn't just refusing to leave their death world, they were choosing it over the combined knowledge and resources of galactic civilization. First Speaker's translator crackled as he struggled to find the right words. This was only the beginning of what would become a legendary day in galactic history, the day humanity showed the galaxy that they had greatly underestimated both Earth and its inhabitants. The council chamber remained silent for several long moments after Tom's declaration. It was Second Speaker, a crystalline being from a low-gravity world, who finally broke the tension. "Perhaps the human representative doesn't fully understand what he's refusing," Second Speaker chimed, their crystalline form glittering. "Membership in the council means access to medical technology that could extend human lifespans by centuries. It means education systems that could advance your science by generations. It means dash. I understand perfectly well what you're offering, Tom interrupted, his calm voice carrying an edge of steel. But you're not listening to what I'm saying. Earth isn't just some rock we happen to live on. It's the cradle of our species. Its gravity shaped our bones, its predators sharpened our minds, and its challenges made us who we are. A representative from the merchant worlds, a small purple being named Trade Master, floated forward in their anti-gravity pod. But the resources. Think of the wealth your people could accumulate with access to our trading networks. We've calculated that the average human could become wealthy enough to own their own spacecraft within just 10 years. Tom smiled and shook his head. We're not against trade or friendship. But it has to be on equal terms. We won't abandon our home world just because you think it's too dangerous. In fact, we'd like to propose something different. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their pods. This wasn't how first contact ceremonies were supposed to go. There were protocols, traditions, carefully planned steps that had worked for thousands of years. What exactly are you proposing? First speaker asked, trying to regain control of the situation. Instead of us leaving Earth, why don't you come visit us? Tom's suggestion caused several alien representatives to physically recoil. We've built cities that can accommodate various atmospheric needs. We could learn from each other. Maybe you'd understand us better if you saw where we come from. Visit a death world? A scientific advisor squeaked through their translator. The gravity alone would crush most council species. We've already designed special suits that can compensate for gravity differences, Tom explained. Our engineers have been working on them since we first detected your civilizations. We're not asking you to experience Earth exactly as we do, just to see it, to understand it. First speaker's color shifted to a deeper blue, a sign of deep thought among his species. This is unprecedented. The council has protocols, procedures dash. Maybe it's time for some new procedures, Tom suggested. You've been watching us for decades, right? Then you know that adapting to challenges is what humans do best. We don't run from problems, we solve them. The council chamber erupted in discussions, arguments, and exclamations in 100 different languages. The translation systems struggled to keep up with the overlapping voices. Tom stood quietly, watching the chaos he had created with the patience of someone used to weathering storms. He thought about the message he'd received from Earth's leadership before coming to this meeting: show them who we really are. A small group of younger council representatives had gathered near Tom, their curiosity overtaking their fear. One of them, a floating cloud of colored gas contained in a transparent sphere, approached him. Is it true that humans regularly climb mountains for fun? The being asked through their translator. Sure is, Tom replied with a grin. We also dive into oceans, jump out of aircraft, and race vehicles at high speeds. Life isn't just about being safe, it's about living fully. As the younger representatives buzzed with excitement at these revelations, the older council members watched with growing concern. They were witnessing something unprecedented. Their carefully ordered galactic society was being challenged not by force or technology, but by a completely different way of thinking about life itself. And this was only the beginning of the changes that humanity would bring to the galaxy. As discussions continued to swirl through the council chamber, a tall, thin alien with silvery skin stepped forward. This was Chief Historian, keeper of the council's vast records of galactic civilization. There is something the council should know, Chief Historian announced, their voice cutting through the chaos. In our earliest records, there are mentions of other Deathworld species. Species that, like humans, evolved in harsh conditions. The chamber fell silent once again. Even first speaker turned all four eyes toward the historian in surprise. What happened to these species? Tom asked, his interest clearly piqued. Chief Historian's silver skin rippled with what might have been discomfort. They were persuaded to relocate to safer worlds. Over generations, they changed. Their physical strength diminished. Their aggressive survival instincts faded. They became more like the rest of us. Tom's weathered face hardened. You're saying they lost what made them unique? They lost their connection to their home worlds. They became civilized, first speaker interjected. They joined galactic society properly. Surely you can see this is the natural progression of all species? Natural? Tom's voice remained calm, but several council members still flinched at his tone. There's nothing natural about abandoning the environment that shaped you. Those species you civilized, did any of them go on to do great things? Did they make discoveries? Lead expeditions? Solve major problems? Chief Historian's silence was answer enough. I think I understand now, Tom said, looking around the chamber. You're not just afraid of Deathworlds. You're afraid of what they create, beings who aren't afraid to take risks, to face challenges, to think differently. The young gas cloud being who had asked about mountain climbing drifted closer. He's right. Look at what humans have accomplished on their world. They've survived ice ages, predators, natural disasters. They've built cities in deserts and on frozen tundra. They've even started fixing the damage they once did to their planet's climate. Other younger council members joined in, their voices rising in excitement. Their art shows they find beauty in dangerous things. They've mapped their entire planet, even the deepest oceans. They send people into space just to explore. First speaker raised all four arms for silence. This is highly irregular. The council has procedures, traditions dash. Maybe your traditions need updating, Tom suggested. You invited us to join your council because we achieved faster-than-light travel. But did you ever wonder how we did it? It's because we never stopped pushing boundaries. We never settled for safe enough. Earth taught us that standing still means death, life requires constant adaptation and growth. A low murmur spread through the chamber as council members began to process these words. Some looked thoughtful, others worried, and a few seemed almost excited. What exactly are you proposing? Third speaker, a being made of intertwined vines, asked carefully. I'm proposing a real partnership, Tom replied. Not one where we have to change who we are to fit your idea of civilization. One where we can share our strengths. You have knowledge and technology we could learn from. But we have something you've lost, the drive to push boundaries, to take calculated risks, to face challenges head-on. The council chamber buzzed with intense discussions. Old alliances were already shifting as different factions began to form, those who saw the potential in what humanity offered, and those who feared the changes such an alliance might bring. Chief Historian watched it all with ancient eyes. In all their years of recording council history, they had never seen anything like this. A Deathworlder species wasn't just refusing to be civilized, they were challenging the very foundations of what the council considered civilization to be. And somewhere in the historian's vast memory, a very old warning surfaced: beware the species that thrives where others fear to tread, for they will either lift you to new heights, or remind you of heights you have forgotten. The Council's Emergency Advisory Board, consisting of the most senior representatives, had gathered in their private chamber above the main hall. Tom stood before them, his steady presence making even this smaller group of aliens uncomfortable. You realize what you're asking? Fourth speaker, a being of pure energy contained in a metallic suit, pulsed with agitation. You want us to completely change how we integrate new species into the Council. This goes against thousands of years of successful procedures. Successful for whom? Tom asked, crossing his arms. For the Deathworld species who lost their strength? For the Council that lost their potential contributions? Tell me, when was the last time the Council faced a real crisis? How did you handle it? The Emergency Advisory Board members looked at each other uneasily. It was Trade Master who finally spoke up. There was the great solar storm of the Centauri sector, 50 years ago, they said. Several colony worlds were at risk. We evacuated them. You ran away, Tom said bluntly. On Earth, we've learned to predict solar storms, to build defenses against them, to protect our cities while keeping them running. Because that's what you do when your whole planet regularly tries to kill you, you learn to solve problems instead of avoiding them. First speaker's blue color had darkened almost to black with stress. But the risks dash. Life is risk, Tom interrupted. The real risk is becoming so afraid of challenges that you stop growing. Look at your own records. When was the last time the Council made a major scientific breakthrough? Solved a planetary crisis? Explored a truly unknown region of space? The silence that followed was telling. I have data here, the young gas cloud being, who had joined the emergency session as a junior observer, projected a series of holographic charts. Council technological advancement has slowed by 64% over the last 1,000 years. Exploration of new regions has decreased by 89%. Problem-solving initiatives have fallen by 73%. Because we have achieved stability. Second speaker chimed defensively. We have created a safe, prosperous civilization for all member species. You've created a stagnant civilization, Tom corrected. And deep down, you know it. That's why you're so interested in Earth. Not just because we achieved faster-than-light travel, but because we did it our way, facing our challenges head-on. Tom walked to the center of the chamber, his movements deliberate and confident. I have a proposal. Give us 1 year. Let us show you what a partnership with humanity could really mean. Let us prove that facing challenges makes you stronger, not weaker. And how would you propose to do that? Chief Historian asked, genuine curiosity in their silvery voice. You have problems you've been avoiding. Dangerous solar systems you haven't explored. Planetary disasters you've run from. Let us help you face them. Not by taking over, but by working together. We'll bring our problem-solving skills and courage, you bring your advanced technology and knowledge. The Emergency Advisory Board erupted in heated discussions. The younger members, led by the gas cloud being, were openly supportive of Tom's proposal. The older members seemed torn between their fear of change and their recognition of the truth in his words. And if we refuse? First speaker asked quietly. Then humanity will go its own way, Tom replied simply. We'll explore the galaxy on our own terms. We'll solve our own problems, face our own challenges. And maybe, in time, other species will see that there's strength in facing adversity rather than running from it. The chamber fell silent as the weight of this moment settled over everyone present. They were facing more than just a diplomatic decision, they were facing a challenge to their entire way of life. And in that silence, the words of an ancient council prophecy echoed in Chief Historian's mind. When the children of the harsh world come, they will offer 2 paths, one of comfortable silence, and one of uncomfortable growth. Choose wisely, for this choice will echo through the ages. The news of Tom's challenge had spread through the council station like wildfire. Hundreds of representatives crowded the main chamber, their arguments and discussions creating a storm of noise that the translation systems could barely handle. But everything fell silent when the Emergency Advisory Board returned. First speaker's deep blue color had lightened somewhat, suggesting they had reached a decision. Representative Tom Smith of Earth, first speaker announced formally. Your words have caused great disruption in our council. Some say you threaten thousands of years of peace and stability. Others say you offer us a chance at renewal. Tom stood calmly, hands clasped behind his back. Sometimes the greatest threat to life isn't danger, it's comfort that leads to weakness. We have reviewed the data, second speaker chimed in. It is concerning. Our progress has indeed slowed. Our solutions to problems have become predictable. The gas cloud being, now floating proudly among the advisory board, projected new images into the chamber. They showed abandoned worlds, unexplored regions of space, and problems left unsolved because they were deemed too risky to address. There is a system at the edge of council space, first speaker continued. 3 inhabited worlds are facing destruction from their dying sun. We had planned to evacuate them, as we always do. Instead, we will accept your challenge. A rush of excited whispers filled the chamber. Even Tom raised his eyebrows in surprise. You have 1 standard galactic year, first speaker declared. Work with our scientists and engineers. Show us this different approach you speak of. If you can save those worlds without evacuation, we will reconsider our position on Earth and Deathworld species. And if we fail? Tom asked. Then Earth must either accept full integration into the Council on our terms, or remain isolated from galactic society. The chamber erupted again. This was unprecedented, never had so much rested on a single challenge. Never had the Council's ways been put to such a test. Tom smiled, and several nearby aliens stepped back instinctively. There was something in that smile that reminded them that humans were predators, evolved to chase and overcome challenges. We accept, Tom said. But I have one condition. First speaker's color flickered with surprise. You dare to add conditions? The young ones who have supported us, like our gas cloud friend here, they work with us directly. No filters, no bureaucracy. We need people who can think differently. The older council members shifted uncomfortably, but the younger representatives practically glowed with excitement. You would risk their lives? Third speaker asked, their vine-like form twisting with concern. No, Tom replied firmly. We would show them how to live more fully. There's a difference between risking lives needlessly and taking calculated risks to achieve something important. First speaker conferred quietly with the other advisory board members. Finally, they turned back to Tom. Agreed. You have 1 year. You will have access to council technology and knowledge. You will work with our younger representatives. And you will either save those 3 worlds, or accept that the council's way is right. Tom nodded, then turned to address the entire chamber. Before we start, I want you all to understand something. Humans don't just solve problems because we have to. We solve them because that's what gives life meaning. Every challenge we overcome makes us stronger. Every problem we solve makes us wiser. He looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes, optical sensors, and other sensory organs of various species. By the end of this year, we won't just save those worlds. We'll show you a whole new way of looking at the galaxy. Because that's what Deathworlders do, we don't just survive challenges, we learn from them. And now, we're ready to teach. The chamber buzzed with a new energy, fear mixed with excitement, doubt mixed with hope. The galaxy was about to change, and everyone present knew they were witnessing the beginning of something extraordinary. 6 months into the challenge, the council chamber was transformed. Where there had once been neat rows of climate-controlled pods, there were now holographic displays, simulation stations, and teams of mixed species working together. Tom stood at a central planning table with his unlikely team. The gas cloud being, now nicknamed Storm by the humans who had joined the project, hovered excitedly over a 3-dimensional map of the dying solar system. Next to them, young representatives from 20 different species worked on various aspects of the problem. Traditional council methods would never have considered this approach, Storm said, their clouds swirling with enthusiasm. Using the dying sun's own energy to power the planetary shields? It's brilliant. Humans have a saying, Tom replied, studying the complex calculations floating in the air. Sometimes the solution to a problem is hidden within the problem itself. First speaker and several other senior council members watched from the observation deck above. They couldn't deny the progress being made, but it made them deeply uncomfortable. "They're breaking so many safety protocols," second speaker chimed nervously. "Testing shield technologies in actual solar flare conditions? Sending manned ships into the corona of a dying star? This is madness." And yet, Chief Historian noted, their silver skin reflecting the holographic lights, they haven't lost a single life. Their safety procedures are different from ours, but remarkably effective. Below, Tom was reviewing the latest test results with his team. The young council members had changed over the past months. They stood straighter, spoke more confidently, and most importantly, had learned to see problems as challenges rather than threats. The shield prototype withstood a Class 7 solar flare in the latest test, a crystalline being reported excitedly. "We've never achieved that level of protection before." "Good work," Tom said, smiling at their enthusiasm. "But remember what we learned on Earth, never celebrate too early. Triple-check everything. Run the simulations again. One mistake could cost lives." The team nodded seriously. They had learned that human confidence came not from ignoring danger, but from preparing thoroughly to face it. "There's something else," Storm interjected, bringing up new data streams. "The techniques we're developing here? They could be applied to other problems the Council has been avoiding. The radiation storms in the Carina sector, the unstable wormholes in the galactic core. One problem at a time," Tom reminded them, but he was smiling. The young aliens had learned another human trait, seeing opportunities where others saw only obstacles. First speaker floated down to the planning area, their blue color shifting with mixed emotions. "Your progress is impressive. But surely you understand how much risk you're taking? The Council has survived this long by being cautious." Tom turned to face the Council leader. "With all respect, surviving isn't the same as living. Look at your young people now. They're not just following procedures, they're thinking, creating, pushing boundaries. This is what we were trying to show you." He gestured to the busy chamber. "This isn't just about saving 3 worlds anymore. It's about remembering how to face challenges. It's about growing stronger instead of just staying safe." Around them, the chamber hummed with energy and purpose. Young council members worked alongside human engineers, combining council technology with human innovation. Problems that had been deemed impossible were being solved through this combination of advanced science and Deathworld determination. "The first planetary shield goes online next week," Storm announced proudly. "We're ahead of schedule." First speaker watched as their younger members celebrated this milestone with their human colleagues. Something was changing in the Council, something fundamental. The careful, cautious order of thousands of years was being replaced by something new, something more dynamic, more alive. And deep in the Council's ancient archives, Chief Historian made a new entry: "The day the Deathworlders came was not, as we feared, the end of our civilization. Instead, it was the beginning of its renewal." One standard galactic year after Tom's challenge began, the Council chamber was packed beyond capacity. Representatives from every member species had come to witness the final outcome. The 3 threatened worlds, once deemed lost, were now displayed on the massive central screen. Tom stood with his team as first speaker called the session to order. Storm, now an official project leader, hovered proudly beside him. The other young council members who had worked on the project stood tall, their bearing noticeably different from their peers. 1 year ago, first speaker began, their blue color bright and clear, a human stood in this chamber and challenged everything we thought we knew about civilization. Today, we see the results. The main screen showed the 3 worlds, each now surrounded by a shimmering energy field that pulsed in sync with their dying sun's energy. Cities still bustled on their surfaces, their inhabitants going about their lives under the protection of human-inspired innovation. Not only have the planetary shields proven successful, second speaker chimed, but the technology developed has already been adapted to solve 3 other impossible problems across council space. Storm moved forward to present the final data. The shield systems are completely self-sustaining, powered by the very solar energy they protect against. They will last for at least 300 years, more than enough time to develop more permanent solutions. Tom stepped forward when asked to speak. His voice carried clearly through the translation systems. This project wasn't just about saving 3 worlds. It was about proving something more important, that challenges make us stronger when we face them together. He gestured to his team. Look at these young council members. A year ago, they were bound by procedures and afraid of risk. Now they're problem solvers, innovators. They've learned to see challenges as opportunities for growth. Chief Historian Silver Skin rippled with excitement as they spoke. In 1 year, this combined team has made more technological progress than the Council had made in the previous 50 years. They've solved problems we had labeled as unsolvable. More importantly, Tom added, nobody died. Nobody was injured. We took calculated risks, yes, but we also developed new safety protocols. Humans don't survive on a death world by being reckless, we survive by being both brave and smart. First speaker raised all 4 arms for attention. The Council has reached a decision. Earth will be welcomed into the Galactic Council, not as a world to be changed, but as a world to learn from. Furthermore, we are creating a new division within the Council, the Innovation and Challenge Response Team. A murmur of excitement ran through the chamber. This team, first speaker continued, will be led jointly by human representatives and those council members who have shown aptitude for this new approach. Their first task will be to review other problems we have been avoiding. Storm's gaseous form swirled with joy as they were named as one of the team leaders. Around the chamber, other young council members who had worked on the project were also given new responsibilities and roles. There's one more thing, Tom said, addressing the chamber. Earth extends an invitation to all council members. Come visit our death world. Not to live there, but to learn there. We've built special facilities where you can safely experience what made us who we are. The chamber buzzed with excitement. Already, some of the younger representatives were eagerly discussing the possibility of visiting Earth. The day a Deathworlder rejected our council, Chief Historian mused aloud, was not, as we feared, a day of division. Instead, it became a day of transformation. A day when we remembered that true civilization isn't about avoiding challenges, it's about facing them wisely and growing stronger together. As the chamber erupted in applause, Tom looked around at what had been accomplished. In 1 year, they had done more than save 3 worlds. They had helped an ancient civilization remember how to grow, how to innovate, how to live rather than just survive. And this was just the beginning. Across the galaxy, problems that had been ignored for centuries waited to be solved. Challenges that had been avoided waited to be faced. A new age was dawning, one where the wisdom of the Council would be combined with the courage and innovation of Earth. The Deathworlders had not just joined Galactic civilization, they had helped it evolve into something greater than it had ever been before.